So now we're live. Welcome to the stream. Today we're doing a slightly different thing. I'm gonna play some live, and I'm planning to answer any questions that you guys might have. Um, so today I'm playing with a bit of a delay to make it fair for everyone in the field. So I suppose I'm gonna start playing when the stream actually goes live, because right now there's a couple minutes of delay before you guys start seeing it. When it's live, please do let me know if everything's fine, if the sound is fine, if you find the video quality alright. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm really looking forward to this one. It might be quite fun. Let's see what we have in the lobby. I was planning to play the low stakes today. Several reasons. Just want to see the state of the game. How are people playing? And moreover, since I don't know don't know anybody in the field, it would be quite interesting and maybe instructive in a way of how to play against unknown people without any reads, without any idea about the population tendencies, etc., etc. So, not gonna be using my HUD, which I don't advise. If you do have a HUD, if you are using Hold'em Manager or Poker Tracker or whatever you're using, you should obviously always play with that, because if you know how to use it, it does add to your win rate. So let me make the chat prettier. All right, that should do it. So let's see, I don't know if we're live yet. Still not. Bit of a delay. I don't know how I'm gonna find this format. You know, last time on Saturday when we were doing a stream with MMA Sherdog, I had a lot of fun because we did have some questions coming in and I could respond live to people. Right now it's gonna be a bit of a delay, so I don't know how I'm gonna like it. Please do let me know how you like it. Yeah, basically I'm looking forward to any feedback that I can get. Alright, I see now we're live, and I'm even getting an advertisement right now. Okay. We're doing a slightly different thing. I'm gonna play some live, and I'm planning to answer. Now this is a bit annoying because I have. Alright, now I just switched off the sound because I was hearing my own stream in the background. That's not really cool. Anyway, you know what? While I'm waiting for something, how about we check if we have any high stakes game running, and I put it in the background. We have something. All right. So just have this here. If we see any interesting hands, we'll discuss. And then as soon as I get the confirmation from you guys that you know it's all good, then we start some live play. It's a fun table. You can see it's a pretty good lineup. Some really good players in the field, and one recreational player who's been actually present in the games the whole day today. I've seen him the whole day. All right, Arthur. Thanks. Arthur was saying in the chat that make sure I have some delay. I do have some delay, yeah, because I thought about it. I thought about, you know, for main reason, you know, to have the delay. It wouldn't be really fair for other people. Like if anybody's watching and they play the same game, if they know my cards, they have an advantage over the field, and that wouldn't be fair. We don't want to do that. So I'm sure we have a decent delay. Anyway, let's watch a couple of hands of this, and then we start playing. I don't know if you guys would want some music in the background. It probably is a cool idea to have music in general, but I do plan to talk about hands while I'm playing and then maybe discuss some of the interesting hands. So I do expect that I'm gonna be, you know, talking the whole time. So it there shouldn't be too much silence. And in fact, if there's no music and I catch myself being a bit silent, then that's not the point of the stream, and I should get my act together. Anyway, we have a hand with the recreational player involved. Let's see what happens. He did limp on the button. That's not something any of the regular players have in their strategy. But, you know, if he can make it work, why not? I'm not sure he can, but let's see what happens in this hand. Yeah, nothing too exciting. Anyway, you know what? I'm just gonna go and start the game. So like I said, my plan is I want to see what's going on at these stakes. How are people playing? I want to spot if I see any trends from the very beginning. If you know, if we can learn anything from how can we exploit, how can we adapt to the field, and if we encounter any interesting strategic point, I'll make sure to pause a bit and discuss it. So okay, let's go. There's quite a few people in the Zoom pool right now. These stakes, I think we're 165 people. That's plenty. Okay, we have a limp from early position. That's fine. The first hand we see something unusual. Okay, we can safely call. Definitely checking with our tiny flush. Let's see what happens. In general, it would be a card we should expect him to check behind a lot, and obviously the full house came on the river. That's not great. I do expect this player to bet a decent amount, but we are gonna probably... I wanted to say we're gonna probably call, but now that I see a pot size bet, it's quite unlikely that we are ahead here. Do we want to call? Nah. Let's just play a solid strategy. Let's play serious. Let's not do anything stupid. Now, notice I'm gonna be opening for a pot size from every position. I might do some limping from the small blind. So yeah, I would be playing a mixed strategy on the small blind. We're just gonna check behind here. Yeah, otherwise, let's see. I'm gonna do some fair amount of 3-betting, trying to see some pots in position, observe what people do, how people play. As you can see, I don't have a HUD at the moment, but I don't think that would be necessary anyway. We have 0 hand history with all the players, so a HUD wouldn't really change anything for me. And the player pool being as big as it is right now, even if we do play for an hour and a half, I don't expect to start getting any sample with anyone. So Alright, so we do see a call from a small blind. And normally you would expect a player to have a strong range here, so I did make a continuation bet, even though that's not really standard in this situation with my hand, but I wanted to see his response. I wanted to I wanted to see if he's actually playing a strong range there, or did he just call because he's calling a lot. Alright, so far nothing interesting. We're gonna limp this hand if it comes to us. And it doesn't, so we're just gonna safely fold. Alright. Now, by the way, for you guys who tuned in and don't know what's up, last Saturday we announced that BluffTheSpot is finally offering PLO coaching. So yeah, that's super exciting. I'm really looking forward to this, and that's why we're streaming PLO right now. Now, there's no reason to try to value bet. He's very unlikely to fold his kings and queens, so there's no reason to bluff with our hand. Let's just show it down. We actually end up winning, which is really cool. Now, the thing is, let's see if this is visible for you guys. So the thing is, I would have liked a 3-bet in his shoes there. I think his hand is really, really nice for that. We are 100 big blinds deep. It would have been a nice one. Now we're gonna call against anyone. Yeah, 2 players. Okay, let's go. So now I'd like to lead. A tiny lead. We are most likely ahead. Let's fold out some hands. And in general, this is the type of board where I do want to have a leading range. This hand fits really nice in there. I wouldn't expect him to raise. That would be very weird if he does. We have a decision to make. But like I said, that shouldn't be part of his game on that board. That's also the reason why I made a small bet, because basically my leading range there would be quite balanced, and with my bluffs I'd rather bet small, get a cheap price on my bluff, and don't incentivize them to raise that much. Well, we're not gonna do anything stupid. I'm not gonna play that hand in a multi-way limp pot out of position. Now this is not good enough to open, so we just fold. All right. Well, let's play tight. Let's play how we're supposed to. I want to start with a very decent, strong strategy to begin with, and then if we see that there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the games, we might start adapting. We might start, opening up our range, opening up our game post flop. But let's just start very simple, no tough decisions, just easy life, happy days. Folding here. All right, pretty hand. Let's see what happens. So far I didn't have a chance to 3-bet at all. I do hope now is the time. Yeah, now is the time, so let's 3-bet. Well, this board is not great for our hand, but the way we want to play it. Let's let me just go for it, and then I explain along the way. I don't want to bet small on this board in general. Never mind with which hand, with this hand or any other hand. Don't really want to bet small. It's just basically let's go with it. And yeah, okay, we win the first one with the lucky draw, and we do lose the second one. Now, what can we say about the opponent's hand? Well, first of all, kind of close. His open pre-flop. It's quite close. A bit on the looser side. Now his call against my 3-bet, can't blame him. It's fine. You know, either way, both of his plays a bit on the looser side, but nothing too horrible. Um, yeah, played out fine. I mean, of course, he flops 2 pair, so a dream flop for him. But if we think about it, how often against my hand is he actually getting any equity at all on the flop? Uh, very, very infrequently. So you can see how playing a hand like he did, the type of hand that he did pre-flop, that can cost you a lot of money when you just are sort of on the borderline of yes, okay, I have to call against the 3-bet, and then yeah, okay, I have to stack off on the flop, but most of the time you're not getting your money good. Now this is interesting. The player in position just checked down his pocket nines. Well, that's solid. Yeah, that's fine. He didn't need to turn it into a bluff, so that's fine. If we would have seen him have a hand with no showdown value, that would be a good time to make a note of, okay, the player is just not bluffing enough, perhaps. And that note would serve us well in the future because we could adapt to things that we see from him. Anyway, so what we've been playing for a few minutes, I was expecting to see much more action. I was expecting to see much more in terms of multi-way pots, but people do seem to, you know, play fine. I don't see a lot of early position open, call type of thing. That's good to know. 2 pair on this board. Well, let's make the tiniest of bets, a bit of protection. We don't hate it if we get raised, that's fine, but there's a lot of straight draws out there. We'd like to charge them. Occasionally somebody might decide to do something stupid. Okay. Now we have a better 2 pair now. I don't think there's any reason to value bet it. We're just never getting paid by a weaker hand, and there are a lot of hands which beat us at this point. Now, guys, for those of you watching, if you have any questions, anything you would want me to address, please do write in the chat. I'll be happy to talk about some poker-related subject. Just make a pause from the live play video. By the way, the previous hand. So let's just check here. I'm gonna call against the bet. We don't see a bet. Let's start betting at this point. A couple flush draws out there, and we're just gonna go for a check call. Yeah, I think we go for a check call. There's not a really good compelling reason to try to value bet our jacks here. Okay, he opted not to bluff on the river, which is fine by him. Now, I do want to pause now, and in fact, I'm even gonna. Am I gonna fold this hand? Yeah, they're both a bit short. I timed out anyway, so that does it. Anyway, they both were a bit short, so we don't really need to. We don't really need to see that multi-way flop there. But anyway, I want to address this hand. What happened? Honestly, like, it's weird. I don't know what the hell is going on here. Because if you remember the action, there was an open from the button, there was a call from the small blind, and we called here, right? It went check, check, check on the flop. Now, mind you, both of them have flushes on the flop. The player in position has the nuts, right? He has the nuts. Now, turn went check. I made the tiniest of the bets. The guy with the nuts calls. The guy on the small blind also calls. And it checked around on the river. The guy in position has the nuts and he checks back with the nuts. I do hope he just doesn't know he has the nuts, but it's impossible because what did he call on the turn with if he doesn't know he has the nuts? So what's going on? Anyway, I think this is really funny and weird. Not really suspicious because it's not like they were doing. I mean, okay, maybe they're great friends. They just don't want to play against each other. But I'm in the pot, so it's just weird. One of those things. I don't know what's the explanation for this. Um, okay, yeah, the question from T Grinder. I don't think you guys have it in the stream yet, but I'm gonna address it already because I see the question before the delay comes to it. He was asking about that pot, this one, whether with this is PR, we have to bet fold. No, we don't. We don't have to bet fold. We block a lot of two pair type hands. And blocking a 7 is key here. Blocking a 6 is sort of irrelevant, but actually works slightly against us. But blocking a 7 is really important. If we would have like ace ace 6-4 and we are facing a bet, then it's a different thing. But with that hand, I would actually not see bet here, but with our specific hand, we're not bet folding here. Now we have backdoor flush draw, we have backdoor nut flush draw, no less, and we do block a lot of two pair type hands, um, and we have the best hand just a lot of the time. So no, it's not gonna be a bet fold in this case. Anyway, let's go back to the action. Let's see what happened. I still can't get over that previous hand. Like, what the hell happened? The guy checks back the nuts on the river. That was very weird. Okay, now with this hand, I am gonna limp, but I don't get a chance, so never mind. Okay. You might notice that I'm not even moving my mouse a lot in order to fold or call. For those of you who don't know, PokerStars has the shortcuts. They introduced the shortcuts or hotkeys or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called, but it's a really nice feature. It basically allows you to take an action with the preset key on your keyboard or your mouse, and that just speeds things up, makes things easier. Especially useful when you're playing a lot of tables. Of course, we're not playing a lot of tables at this moment, but still, I like to use the functionality provided by PokerStars in this case. Interesting. This guy's playing these stakes. I have a. When did I? Okay, 2016. I remember he was playing 2.5 Zoom back in the day. So maybe he's making some sort of video or a stream as well. Now, what about this hand? Let's go for a 3-bet. Let's go for a 3-bet that's a bit loose, but I don't expect, like, one of my assumptions in these games. I was about to say that we're obviously gonna fold here. One of my assumptions is that people are not going to 4-bet light in position. I am assuming that when they 4-bet, like we just saw that they did, I'm assuming that basically it is aces, it is very strong kings, you know, it's those type of hands. At higher stakes, of course, you will see a lot of other hands which are gonna 4-bet their in position. All right, a bit slow here. Okay. That's a nice flop. Now we can go several ways about it. This is not going to be very interesting because the the player in question, our opponent, is sitting with a shorter stack. So yeah, we can just go with the hand, or we could just check behind. Check behind would have been slightly more standard in this situation. Now, with the 5, we could still go bet and bet the river. Another idea is, which I want to test this idea, what is going to happen if I check and the heart doesn't come? Is he going to bet or is he going to do what? Well, unfortunately, he checks, so most likely he has showdown value, he has some sort of ace. Can we extract some value from him? I hope we can. So let's go. No, no. All right. Why not? Okay. Do we want to? No, we don't. The reason we don't is this. You always have to keep track of the stack sizes of the players at the table. If he wasn't there, I would have opened this hand, but you know, this guy. So we saved there some equity, some EV rather, by folding. Alright, are we gonna defend against an under the gun open? I don't think so. Now let's go. Bye. Now, do we want to open this hand? Hand with big blinds deep with everyone. A bit on the looser side. Let's start playing a bit looser. I'm getting a bit bored. Not much going on. I was really expecting more action from other people, more multi-way pots, more stuff like that. Yeah. On this board, there is a reason to bet. I'm not going to. In this case, I'm just gonna go for a check fold. Unfortunately, if there was one spade on the board, I would most likely bluff in this spot. Hey, we have a new follower, by the way. Thank you. Somehow I couldn't read your screen name. Sorry for that. There's something wrong with my setup, but that's really cool. Thanks for following. Anyway, as planned, we go for a check fold. That's really sad, but what are you gonna do? Alright. I'm not gonna open this hand, it's just way too weak, so let's just speed things up and keep moving. Keep moving with this one. Now, really depends on which position is gonna open against us. Now we are going to defend. And let's see how he plays. Well, it's very easy to play when you flop the world, so let's see, what do we want to do? Do we want to start leading here? Let's lead. Let's make a tiny lead. And let's see what happens. Okay, Jack 9 got there as well. Are we afraid of Jack 9? No, we're not. So let's just keep betting. We're betting for value at this point. Unfortunately, that's one of the worst cards imaginable. Are we going to check fold in this case? Probably are, as we are blocking the hearts as well. And that is very sad. As now any 7 and any Jack makes... Oh, that's funny. Makes a straight. Anyway, good for him. You know, can't blame him for playing the way he played. His call on the flop is gonna lose him some money in the long run. If I play well, if I play bad, then no, then he's gonna make some. All right, we have a question. What do you think of short stacking lower stakes PLO? Hmm. Let me play the hand and then I will address the question. Well, unfortunately, I think we just kind of have to check fold here. So short stacking in lower stakes PLO. Of course, the consideration in lower stakes as to higher stakes is the rake. How big a percentage a rake is. And I think short stacking should be still quite profitable even in the lower stakes. Yeah, I don't see the reason why not. I mean, short stacking should be making money if players don't adapt to a short stacker good enough, well enough. Um, Now, I'll come back to this, but what are we gonna do here? Are we gonna be really, really tight and fold? It doesn't represent much at this point. Ace7, Ace4, let's call, let's see what happens. Yeah, Ace7, well done, well done. I mean, it's okay. So anyway, short stacking should be still quite alright. People, I don't believe that people at these stakes will be able to adapt to a short stacker well enough, considering that I don't see many short stackers here. So yeah, short stacking should be good. Playing deep should be good, and in fact, you can see that there's a lot of people. There are a lot of people with deep stacks, like 200, 300 big blinds deep. So playing that should be very profitable. Playing 100 big blind deep should be profitable. Playing 50 big blind deep should be profitable. Playing 25 big blind deep should be still profitable. I mean, it all depends on how good you are at the stack depth. Because there a lot of things change whenever the stack size changes. A lot of considerations are different. What makes a good hand? What makes a um, how should you construct your opening range pre-flop? How should you play post-flop? Everything changes, and if you are able to play at any stack depth, you're gonna you're gonna have an advantage. And in fact, in Bluff the Spot, we are planning to teach playing different stacks because I truly believe that the more versatile as a player you are, the higher win rate is going to be because you can adapt to the situation at the table, and you can exploit the players. It would be a dream scenario for you to be at the table with 3 or 4 people playing 200, 300 big blind deep stacks, and you're sitting there with a short stack. Well, that would be great for you. Okay, do we want to play a linked pot? Why not? Why not? This is not something you normally see at higher stakes, somebody limping under the gun. Okay, check, check. Nothing too exciting so far. Okay, if we win this hand, I want to see the showdowns. Oh my god. Now, I'm lost for words. There's no reason ever to play or put any money in the pot under the gun in the early position with 3/8 in your hand. Not in PLO. I don't know. So far, I'm very surprised by two things. I've seen, the absolute stone cold nuts being checked down on the river by the player in position. I've seen trip eights being played pre-flop by under the gun. I'm curious to know what else am I gonna see. This is great. This is fun. Now he checks. All avenues here are fine for us. We can bet and we can check behind. There's reasons to do both. I think I want to start building the pot. We have the wrap, we have the flush draw. Unfortunately, of course, if he moves in at that stage, we do expect him to have a higher flush draw. Now, do we want to bet for value here? It would be very, very thin. But we do. We do. Now, do we still want to bet for value? That's another question. I think we extracted the maximum we wanted to extract, so okay. Well, this is fun. He had straight on the river, and overall, I don't like the way he played this hand. Checking to begin with was a nice idea. I like that. Check calling is fine. You can make it work. It's fine. Check raising would be also fine. The thing is, yes, he just has the bottom two pair, doesn't have much else going on. But then his play on the turn, I really, really don't like that. It just, well, let's put it this way. That was bad by him. The turn play was bad. Flop, pre-flop, all good, well done. But otherwise, yeah. All right, so are we going to c-bet here? Sure, let's see what happens. All right. Yeah, okay. A lot of players sitting with deep stacks. That's interesting. I mean, in general, in Zoom pools, even at the higher stakes, people do tend to get quite deep at some point, but the higher the stakes, the more short stackers in the games. Um, Now, here I could call. Should I call? Will I call? I'm not gonna call. You know what? Let's play very solid. It was a 150 big blind deep spot. Let's just play solid out of position. Um, okay. Yeah. Well, this player is all the time I see his face at the table, so I suppose he's one of those playing 4 tables. So we would be getting some sort of stats on him if we would be using a HUD, and that might be useful. Now, what am I going to do here? I think I do want to check. We have a decent hand. We're very likely to be ahead at this point, but a lot of turns get really ugly for us. And in general, our playability with this hand is quite poor. We can definitely call against the bet, but us being slightly deep with this player also means it could be um, that he does have a lot of hands which beat us already on the flop. So do we want to try to extract some value here? I don't think so. Let's just check back. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. 2 pair on the turn. He potted it. Well done. Yeah, I don't mind it. I wonder if he was planning to check call on the river. I would expect him to do that. There's a lot of draws which missed. Now what are we gonna do here? Let's see. Let's see, let's start defending some blinds. Let's see how people play. Now, interesting. Very tempted to raise here. But again, I try to set out to play a very solid strategy, so let's stick to that. Let's not do anything unnecessary, because, you know, sometimes people just make life difficult for themselves. You know, if you can make money with a very basic strategy, why not go for it? You know? Well, I could tell you why not go for it. Obviously, if you can make more money with a more advanced strategy, but if you can't, then why just don't do things simple? Do we want to defend here? Nah. Alright, so we have something in the chat. Yeah, this is back to our discussion about the short stacks, and that's exactly right. You know, playing super deep is probably the most profitable at this point at these stakes, but you are gonna make a lot of money as a short stacker as well, I would assume. Alright, we're gonna have to fold here. Now that we have a bit of a quiet moment in the game, although there's been a lot of quiet moments, no fireworks at all, somehow. Yeah, you guys could probably see I have a Twitter name up there. I just opened this account today, so it's brand new. Um, do come over to Twitter, and you know, the idea there is I'm gonna be doing a couple of these streams a week. So if you have any ideas about what you want to see, what would you want me to do and show, please do go on Twitter. Let me know. I'll consider all the requests. I will see, you know, because I'm not even sure if you want to see the live play, if you want to see more in-depth discussion. I'm open for ideas. I wanted to start my first individual stream with a bit of live play, and I did really want to see what's going on at the lower stakes. It's quite important for me to understand what's going on here, because some of our students they are going to be playing these stakes and slightly higher, and so it of course is very important for me to know um, what's going on there in order to be able to give them the best advice. Because, you know, with what we're doing, with the let me just make a tiny bet here. So with the type of coaching we're providing for people, you know, there's this is funny. Sure, I'll call, and I'm just gonna have to fold here. Nah, let's just. Alright. Yeah, you see, I don't like this by him. Why? What's the reason? Like, why would you ever? I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get into this discussion. If you guys do want to hear that discussion, please do let me know in the chat. I'll get back to that hand, but it's just one of those things, you know. He should never have done that. Anyway, do we want to open up a bit? Yeah, I'm getting a bit deep, so it's time to start opening up my range. So I was talking about something, I forgot now. What was it? Yeah, the type of coaching we're doing in Bluff the Spot. You know, there's the whole idea is I want to give the students distilled material. I want to present the information in a simple form so that you can learn the quickest way possible. And for that, of course, I do need to know what's going on at the stakes that the students are playing, and of course, I need to adapt the material that I'm giving to them to suit their needs the best. Now, ace came. We have a decent ace. Do we wanna? Yeah, let's go for a bit of value. I don't expect to get check raised here. That would be very surprising. Um, Another surprising thing is that I would have expected him to go for a value bet himself with ace king there, because he shouldn't expect me to bet a lot of weaker aces myself there, and I don't think he should expect me to be bluffing a lot on that river, considering I didn't bluff the turn. So overall, I think for him it would have worked out better if he did bet himself instead of going for a check call. But fine, it's definitely not a mistake per se. Now this is interesting. On this board, both players called, very suspicious. So let's just go for bet, 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 and bet, bet, bet. Well, now this is not great. Do we wanna? Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Curious to know what type of hand he had. Hmm. Again, one of those things, on the flop he has no business there, being there with this hand. And to be honest, he has no business pre-flop to be there with this hand. So overall, what happens if you have no business being in the situation, you end up losing most of the time. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. Right. Do we want to limp? Yeah, let's limp. I want to see how people respond, because, like, theoretically, the big blind should be betting or raising a decent amount against my limp. So far, I've limped a couple times, if I remember correctly. I've never get raised, so that's something to look out for, which probably means I can open up my limping range and just basically go for seeing a lot of flops. This player is playing these stakes as well. Okay, I have a note from him, or a rather, colored him some time ago on this player as well. So, okay, whatever happened there. I do remember them playing higher before. Maybe they still do. I don't know. Maybe they also just do something along the same lines what I'm doing right now. So do we want to play this hand? Two not so deep players out there. Although I probably could have gotten away with playing this, considering that we don't see too many loose 3-bets so far. Alright. Okay, another, hopefully, opportunity to limp. Well, that makes it even easier. Interesting. Do we want to... Yeah, let's just bet. I expect to have the best hand a lot here. I do expect him to have some sort of draw at this point. Just want to charge, get the maximum value. Not gonna play this hand though. Okay. Now against the min open we will play. If we get another couple callers before we get to act, we will just have to fold. This is not a type of hand we want to play multi-way. So let's see what happens, And even if we would have had like the most amazing odds in the world to play this hand, I still don't think there's a good reason to do it. Now, we have a question from Arthur. How hard you think it is to a well-developed no-limit hold'em player to transition to PLO? Well, shall we play this hand? Yeah, let's play this hand. We can open up our. Okay. Well, how hard is it for a hold'em player to transition? Um, the game is not that different. It's a flop game, right? There's the flop turn river, same idea. The ranges are different. The whole approach is a bit different. But if somebody is a thinking player in no limit hold'em, to transition and be a thinking player in pot limit Omaha, I don't think it's that difficult. The problem is in hold'em, in a way, it's much easier to gain access to material, and it's much easier to understand the material because, let's say the pre-flop, it's just charts. It's quite visual, it's quite simple. It's a question of memorizing, it's a question of understanding the idea behind it. Now, we sort of have an interesting hand, so let me get back to the discussion after the hand. Now, I have a monster of a hand. Theoretically, I would be betting here most of the time, but I wanted to see whether this player is going to see this board as a type of board he can stab a lot. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. So I would have liked myself to bet on the flop more often than not. I didn't. Now we're facing an ugly spot if he bets. I'm definitely still check calling, but we definitely missed some value on the flop, and maybe saved some money in terms of. Nah, but with this hand, he would never have done anything extraordinary to get us off our hand on the river. Okay, limp limp. Let's limp behind. And let's get back to the discussion of hold'em players playing PLO. Yeah, the question is the material. In hold'em, it's much easier to understand the game from studying the charts, from studying the material that is out there. In PLO, first of all, it's much easier to get your hands on any good material, and second, it's very hard to really understand the game deeply, just because the game is magnitudes bigger compared to Hold'em. But with good guidance, with good coaching, I don't think it is that difficult for a Hold'em player to transition. It's a question of whether you can get efficient help from somebody, like from us here in BluffTheSpot. If you get somebody guiding you through the process and giving you distilled material, that basically the key things that you need to know, and checking your progress along the way, it's really not that different of a game compared to Hold'em in the end of the day. Mm, hmm. I am tempted to call here, if I'm perfectly honest. I just don't see him having a full house here often enough. And is he... Well, let's just fold again. Let's get back to the original idea of keeping it simple, not making any tough decisions, because what's the point? But yeah, coming back to this hand, I don't know. His line is weird. He's not betting kings, queens for value there. Obviously it would have been stupid if he's actually betting queens there as a bluff and we would call with a 10, but I don't see that happening very often. Do we want to play this hand? Multi-way? Yeah, let's see what happens. Nothing good happens, that's for sure. I would expect him to c-bet small here. He doesn't. No, let's see what happens now. Okay, we have a pot size lead, which is very, very odd, in my opinion. But what are we gonna do? Alright, so now we finally have an opportunity to 3-bet. Let's go for it. King high flop, really nice. I'm gonna go for a small c-bet. If we get check raised, we would call. Now a 10 comes. The question is, what did he call us with on the flop that improved right now? The only thing would really be painful if we c-bet now and he moves in with a queen jack and clubs or something like that. That would be quite painful because can't really afford to call there. Now I am going for value. The question is, what sizing should we choose? There's an idea of going small and let's go small and let him try to do something stupid like check raising. That doesn't happen. Well, let's see what he had. Probably some sort of king. And it is some sort of king. Now, would we have been better off continuing betting on the turn against his specific hand? Definitely yes. He should. I would expect him to call still. Against the range of hands he has there, it's a big if. It really depends because we have to remember that this player opened under the gun. And by the way, this is on the looser side in terms of opening under the gun. He has 3 hearts in his hand. Still a decent hand. Don't get me wrong, it's not too loose, but it is on the looser side. Now, another thing I would like to announce, like I mentioned already before, you can find my Twitter name under the avatar in the stream. Go on Twitter, send me a message. We are planning to give away a few slots at the special group coaching session that we're doing for our Twitch viewers for PLO. That's happening next week. We have a few slots. So yeah, please do send a message on Twitter. Tell me why you would want to participate in the group coaching, and we'll consider all the people, and you might be getting into it. And it's going to be a 45-minute to 1 hour group coaching session completely for free. And yeah, we're going to work on some exciting stuff. So please go on Twitter. Please do post, and yeah, it's happening next week. So let's open this hand. Let's see what happens. I mean, that's not really a decision. I could have. Nah, it wouldn't be great to limp with this hand. I don't think. Double suited, same hand. There's a reason to limp raise, but not with this one. Tight is right. Let's just go tight. And for the last 15 minutes or so, we go the opposite of tight and go a bit crazy. Let's see what happens. Or maybe not. maybe I stay disciplined and stick to the idea of being of playing very solid. Now let's defend, and let's keep defending. It's easy when you have a set. All right. Do I want to check raise here? Yeah, I do. I don't have any spades, so potentially it could be getting very ugly on the turn. But since I don't have any spades, it's quite likely that the opponent has quite a few draws. He can have ace queen, jack, like ace in the gutter with spades is still going in with the hand. Of course, if we are against aces, well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna lose our money either way, one way or another. Yeah, exactly. This hand I was thinking about, you know, an ace with a gutter type of thing. But yeah. Now, okay, this is interesting. We have a lead here. I'm very tempted to call and see what's happening. I wasn't expecting him to lead in this situation. Um, should we? Nah. Again, let's stick to very solid play. Ooh, was about to say that I would like to limp this hand, but I didn't get the chance. Alright, we can play. Consideration here is that the player we're facing is not 100 big blinds deep, so which makes this call less interesting, but still, let's see what happens. We are in position. It's good to see flops in position. It's one of those decent flop for us, although we don't have a monster of a hand by any means. But one way or another, we're gonna continue on this turn as well. Still calling. I don't think he has a straight. I think he might have a flush by this point. Do we wanna bet our flush here? Yeah, we do. I don't expect to get check raised that often. If we do get check raised, I don't expect that he's bluffing. We can just probably fold. Okay. All right. Interesting. So we do see some tiny fireworks. Three-way. We could even sometimes consider folding this hand here, but let's just see what happens now. We will have to fold against any action right now. Still nothing changed really. Two pair. I think it's time to bet for value. If we do get raised, I don't mind folding. That's funny. Insta raise. Very nice. Kind of funny. Maybe even a misclick. I mean, that was really quick. But good for him. Right. Another limping opportunity, and we'll grab it. And we definitely call. I'm getting a lot of sets. That's a fun part about PLO. You're getting a lot of strong looking hands. Let's pot it. Let's just go for pot. Very nice. Now, of course, the straight got there, but we are still betting for value. And we get a fold. Reason we were betting for value, I expect to make more money by betting my hand here than by checking and hoping that he is going to bluff, considering the line he took so far. And of course, yes, there's two flush draws that missed, a lot of straight draws that missed, but still, I don't expect too many bluffs there. If he does bluff a lot there, it's one of those things that you should definitely note, and you should definitely act on whenever you get a chance. But we don't have reads on anyone. We're not really trying to get reads on anyone. The whole idea today is to get the feel of how the general population is playing in these stakes. And so far, I mean, it's been what, about an hour. I've seen some very, very, very surprising things, which were quite bad, to be honest. But apart from that, I mean, I don't know. Hard to say. It would be much more instructive for myself if I had some sort of sample size on the people, and I could see sort of their percentages of how much they're raising pre-flop, etc., etc. You know, playing Zoom, playing a field like we are with basically whatever is 170 people right now, right? I don't get a chance to see the same people often enough at my table in this 1 hour to be able to make any sort of reads. It's much easier to play without the HUD when you're playing just one table, not a Zoom, just one standard table. When you actually start to get reads on the players, when you can start making notes, you know. But in this situation, we're sort of playing blind, which is not a problem because the whole idea is to play as solid as we can. Basically, don't do anything stupid. Now we're facing this raise, and this raise is very suspect. I mean, with a strong hand, the player in position would have been way better off just calling. So I do expect that he does have a lot of hands that have some sort of showdown, like a like a one pair plus gutter type thing. In which case, he might. No, I don't think his raise there as a general strategy is good on that board. Now, this is one of those where we are going to lead. And we are going to keep betting. All right, a new follower. Thanks, man. Again, I didn't see the screen name, but thanks for following. Really appreciate that. And in the chat we have, you're forgetting the best part about playing PLO over no limit hold'em. More chests. Yeah, more chests. Amazing. Thank you, PokerStars. We really moved on from Supernova Elite times. Huh? Chests. What a joke. Does anybody actually like the idea of chests? I'm curious to know. To me, they're just really annoying. Yeah, in PLO, you do accumulate them quickly, and I just sometimes can't be bothered to open them. At least if they would have like an option of like whatever. Now I have 43 chests. Would there be an option that you can just click and open all of the chests? I don't need the stupid animations with the sounds of like, oh my god, again, you got like 25 cents or whatever. Congratulations. Who needs that? It's more annoying than it's useful. Oh, here you go. A little rant in between the. I just had to get it out of my system. Don't like the chests. So thanks for mentioning that in the chat. I appreciate it. It's spice things up. Now again, guys, if you do feel like you want me to talk about some specific concept today, still please do write in the chat. I'm open for something. We've been playing this one table Zoom for a while now. There's nothing super exciting going on, um, which is fine. I mean, the sample size is of course very small. We played not so many hands, but really we had no tough decisions, which is of course a function of the way we decided to play today. I said from the very beginning we are going to play a very tight, very solid strategy, something that is very simple to implement. Um, and yeah, I mean, playing the way we are, we just don't get tough spots. It was to be expected. Now, is this going to turn to be a tough spot? No, it won't. Now, do I want to bluff the jack? I definitely don't. What are we gonna do if we are getting this type of thing? Um, Interesting. It's very interesting that he chose to bet pot here. One consideration is that if he's bluffing, why did he not bluff the turn? So let's just stick to the let's play very tight, very solid. But why did he not bluff the turn if he is bluffing on the river, right? So it might be one of those cases when the player just is not balanced enough on the river for us to make that call. Let's play the jacks here. Was hoping to flop another set, but oh well, doesn't happen every time. Let's go for a little continuation, but now our hand is obviously one of those hands which would actually like to check behind, um, but we didn't, and now we just have to keep betting and keep betting. We have the second nuts, very nice. So let's keep betting. I do expect him to have a two pair type of hand, which he still should check call with two pair here a decent amount of the time. And let's see what happens. All right, let's open this one first. And yeah, two pair. He did call. And he should, and he really should, considering 8-6, you know, Queen Jack 10 type of hands, they all missed. Sometimes, well, the thing is, with the heart out there, it gets less likely that I was betting the same hand for value. It gets way less likely that I bet Ace King there for value. So yeah. All right. Do we want to participate in this amazing situation here? I think not. The reason is we have a player who is on a shorter stack, and it gets ugly. He could have moved in on the turn, and what are we gonna do then? because let's say the turn was like a five of diamonds, and we would have a nice draw. We would have a gutter, two gutters, but we have two bigger stacks behind us to act. So it gets a bit ugly. We don't need that type of trouble, I don't think. Hmm. Yeah, let's bet here. Many reasons to bet with this specific hand. We are deep, so of course we do need to proceed cautiously against players who are tough. Do we know this player to be tough? Mm, we don't know anything about anyone, to be honest. So, mm, but yeah, we were, what is it, 300 big, well, to 200 something big blinds deep with him, 250 big blinds deep. So he could have got creative there, and we could have been in a bit of trouble. But are we gonna play this very multi-way pot? We shouldn't, but yeah, can't always play tight. Let's just let's just make something funny happen. And in this case, the funniest thing is gonna be that we might just check fold. Let's hope it doesn't get to that. Alright, the 7, not the best, but it's more likely that it's gonna check around on the turn. We do want to see a check around. We have a lot of outs, but not enough to call against this bet, considering that, you know, a lot of our straight cards will bring a flush out there. What are we gonna do? We're out of position. No, let's just fold. Now, one thing I notice is that now that we're a bit deep, um, let's check here. Now that I'm a bit deep, I do see that people in position, these two guys, right? I would expect that they're very, very incentivized to make a lot of funny stuff now. But somehow they're not playing pots against me. Which is, them losing out on some potential EV because, being in position with 300 big blinds deep, you are very incentivized to play a lot of hands there. Now, what do I think about this? I opened early position and this player decided to call on the small blind with this hand. I can only say good luck, sir. Um, yeah, good luck. What do we have in the chat? What is his main limit? I suppose that's my main limit. Well, online I'd be playing 2-5 Zoom, 5-10, occasional 10-20, but mostly 2-5, 5-10. That would be my main game online. Whenever I am online, I do travel a lot for live games. And when I do, I just basically play whatever is running, up to 2-4, I suppose, 200, 400, but those games don't run too often, so mostly it's a $50 100 games that I'm playing. So what this is, nah, this was tempting to move over the top, but this is funny. This is really funny, and let's make it instructive for you, dear viewers, and fold. Let's see what happens. I might see some two crappy hands again and laugh a lot, but in fact, we made a great fold. One guy had a set, one guy had a nut flush draw. With the aces, we were, you might say, dead, completely dead. So cool. Well played, both of you, gentlemen. Mhm. This is quite an ugly hand we have here. Can't really defend. I was planning to defend against a small blind open. I'm not gonna fold too much against a small blind open in general. Um, it would have to be a pretty bad hand for me to do that. Now, what's the stacks here? I shouldn't have opened this hand if I had a chance. We have a shorter stack on a small blind. He is supposed to make our life difficult by 3-betting a lot. I'm not sure he would, but you know, if we assume people are good, then then he should. And by the way, this is actually an interesting topic. Should we assume people are good, or should we assume everybody's just really bad? Because whenever I like, well, whenever no, but like a lot of the times I hear fellow poker players just refer to everyone as a fish, um, and I'm torn on that issue. I don't know, especially you know somebody coming from higher stakes starts playing lower stakes for fun or whatever, and just oh everybody's so bad, everybody's a fish. Is that a fair assumption? I don't know. I don't think so. You know, what is the measure of a good player? I mean, in the end of the day, people are trying to make money. Um, some people are more successful than others, but we're not really trying to measure players in terms of you know how good they are from their technical knowledge perspective thing, right? Because what's the point? In the end of the day, there's so many variables to being a successful poker player. Game selection, for one. You don't necessarily have to be the best, the sort of the smartest poker player in the whole world to be the biggest winner. And a lot of the smartest poker players, they do have a lot of ego issues, which slow them down. You know, because then they just decide, oh, I want to battle the best and whatever. And again, that's all cool as long as you know what you're doing, as long as it's your thing. You feel like, hmm, you know, I'm in it to prove something to myself. Sure, go for it. Um, yeah, I don't know where that rant came from, but here you have it. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna be wrapping up sometime soon. I'm still having fun, so I'm gonna play for a bit more. But I want to remind or you know inform those of you who haven't heard. Um, Let me just play this hand and we get back to this. Now this is really interesting that he should choose to lead here. We have a hand that can really suffer against his leading range. I would be very tempted to call here, but unfortunately against all the hands that he's bluffing with, we're actually not in a great shape. Um, anyway, so I wanted to remind for those of you who already heard it or inform those of you who haven't heard it, but do send me a message on Twitter if you have any requests for what you want me to do the next time. And the next time is going to be most likely Saturday. That I'm going to be streaming right here for you guys. And, you know, I'm really open to ideas. If you want to hear some theory discussion or something like that, we can make it happen. If you're happy with me just playing live, then that's what I'm going to do. I might play a bit higher just to I don't think there's, and it's not very interesting to play the same stakes again, because the whole idea of today was to learn something about the player pool, and we did learn what we wanted to learn, so I don't think we need to repeat this one. Um, anyway, so yeah, do send any ideas, any requests, anything on Twitter. And another thing, we are making a group coaching video for our Twitch viewers and some other people next week. It's going to be a PLO coaching session, 45 minutes to an hour. And yeah, so do send a message for me to me on Twitter if you want to participate in that. We have a few slots available. It's going to be completely for free. And it's very simple to sign up. You just need to let me know on Twitter why should we consider you, and that's it. You know, if you are getting chosen for that, then that's it. You don't need to. There's no paperwork. There's nothing. We just do a session with you next week, and that is going to be a lot of fun, and it hopefully is going to be quite instructive for some of you guys. Now, I don't have time bank. What I want to do here, I want to bet. I want to check uh, because I timed out. But this is a very interesting spot. This is one of those where betting is really interesting. Now, unfortunately, we sort of timed down, and now we're facing an ugly situation. Have to call, and I do expect him to keep betting on the turn. Where it's a very ugly spot. That checking here wasn't great. Now, do I want to bet for value? Is a interesting question, and the answer is yeah. Yeah, I want to bet for value. I'm obviously betting very small. It's a slash blocking bet in this situation, but you know, he's not gonna fold the king, um, and he's not gonna bluff himself, and he's not gonna bet the king for value. So overall, I think our bet there is optimal in this situation. So uh, double pair rainbow hand. You see, again, want to stress this, can't stress this often enough. You must make sure you know what's going on the table. We have a very short stack here, and he could make our life miserable. If we call, he's incentivized to go over the top with a lot of hands. I'm not saying he would, because maybe he doesn't know that he should, maybe he has no idea what's going on in general. But if he does have an idea, then we would be just facing so much trouble from this stack size there. So I'm happy that we spotted that and we folded. And anyway, our hand was a rainbow double suited, a rainbow double suited that doesn't exist. Rainbow double pair. All right. Against the shorty, definitely not opening this one. Okay, fun. Let's play in position. Now, if our assumption would be that these two players are very good and tough, that would make our call here much worse. Um, you know, if these people would be raising a lot or if they would be also calling a lot. But since it's a bit safe to assume that they're not really paying that much attention to what's going on, then, you know, it works out fine. Let's make a bigger size bet. It's going to be a one-off. We basically stab once and we give up if we face anything from the opponent, but we didn't. So what fun! And also, I would like to have your opinion on whether you would like some music in the background for the future stream or not. I don't know. I think most people do stream with music. My idea from the beginning was that I was setting out to talk a lot and discuss the hands and discuss how we play and what we see. Mm, so there shouldn't be too many like silent gaps in the stream. Um, and also, me not having music here means you can just put whatever music in the background you like yourself. So, go figure. I don't know. So let me know if what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's better for you to have something in the background or not? Um, okay. Hmm. We don't have any diamonds, which is sad, but what we're gonna do? Let's see what happens. If he keeps betting, of course, I'm out of the hand very quickly, but the thing is, on this board, I don't expect him to bet like queens or kings for value. So we might be very good with the jacks, and in fact, I'm just gonna check down and see if we are. We are. And if yeah, I don't like his bet. He had top pair. It's weird. He's obviously not betting top pair for value there. So is he bluffing with top pair? Why? It's weird. One of those things. I don't know. I don't agree with that play. Of course, it would have worked out for him if, say, we do fold the jacks there. Then it's great. He basically successfully bluffed top pair. But except he didn't because we didn't fold the jacks there. So go figure. I don't think that was a good play by him there on the flop. Mm-hmm. Five-way pot. Sure. Let's flop a bottom set and fold. This is one of those things. In a multi-way pot in PLO, it seems like I'm getting odds. Let's just call. Oftentimes, it's best to fold. Um, just because in a five-way pot, many hands they really don't have enough equity to continue, and you are in the worst position. So what are you really hoping for, right? Okay, ugly. A7, 3 deuce. Let's just fold. We had a shorter stack on the small blind, makes it more of a fold. Do I want to start playing funny? No, again, we have two shorter stacks. We need to consider that they are there and not do anything stupid. So still 165 people in the Zoom pool at these stakes. Yeah, that's quite cool. I don't know what the Hold'em pools usually have at these stakes. Do more people play Hold'em nowadays, or more people play PLO? At one point, PLO was really up there in terms of Zoom. I don't know what's happening now. Mm. Hmm. Yeah, so I don't know what's happening with the Zoom pools right now. The Zoom pool for higher games, it just seems very stable. It's pretty much the same, didn't change much. It's consistent 24/7. Sometimes we actually don't have a game, like some Saturday morning or something like that. Once in a while, there's no game. But other than that, there's always decent action. Yeah. Okay, top two pair. Definitely betting here. There's no good reason to check. The player in position here is supposed to have quite a few ace-x hands, and we are ahead of most of them, so we definitely want to start building the pot and charge all the draws that are out there, and there's quite a few. There's two inside wraps, basically, so... Alright, definitely defending. We have an open ender here, and we face a check. Now, what do we want to do? There's two ways to go about it. Checking here is good. The thing is, we don't really have many cards on the turn that improve our equity, so I would just rather stab here. I don't, it's not a big deal if we have to fold to a check raise. We just don't get beautiful cards on the turn often enough. Now, this is an ugly card if we haven't bet, but we did bet, so now we can just keep betting and get him to fold his kings. So thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry for a bit of silence, but nothing fun is going on at the moment. People are timing a bit. Here we go. Just gonna fold here. Anyway, that was fun. I think I'm gonna sit out soon and wrap this thing up. I saw what I wanted to see. Oh, well, I guess, yeah, I did want to see flopping quads at some point. So yeah, awesome. Now I really did see everything I wanted to see, so amazing. Gonna still check, sorry. Obviously not folding ever, but how do we get paid here? I want to get paid. Do we bet one? Yeah, doesn't matter what we bet. I mean, what is he gonna call with? One of those things. You flop the world and that's it. Mm. Anyway, next time I'm on the big blind, I'm gonna click the sit out big blind so we do see like two orbits or something like that. Do I want to bet here or check? I'm just gonna go for a check because we did want to see straight flush as well, right? It's not enough to have only the quads. You do need to have straight flush to complete the picture. So yeah, let's bet for value. Let's see. Maybe he has kings and river would come a king and we would see absolutely everything there is to see in poker, but that didn't happen, so whatever. Ah, we are on the big blind, so let's be professional and sit out on the big blind. Pot size bet, very interesting. Very interesting, whatever. Another pot size bet, I would like to see that. Yeah, nice, interesting. Now this is very confusing. Of course, is he ever bluffing enough with this bet size? We do have two pair now, but let's face it, we're gonna face another bet on the river. And what are we gonna do? We really don't have any way to improve here. So let's just fold. I guess that's a function of me not giving him enough credit for being balanced there. And um, if I don't think that he's bluffing enough for that bet size, then why would I ever call there and pay him off? You know what? I'm gonna stop the sit out in the big blind because there's a question in chat coming up. I can see it in the chat right now. So, Mr. Zimmerbobs is gonna be especially for you. We are running a bit longer than expected. How about that? Because, well, anyway, why would I have to wait till it pops out? The question pops out in in the stream chat. I can just tell you that Zimmerbobs is asking what win rates do you think are achievable to these stakes? Um, hmm, that's a good question, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure because, well, you know what's achievable? Definitely double digits. Definitely double digits. I wouldn't be surprised if you can constantly beat it for over 10 big blinds per 100, right? And of course, a lot of people are gonna start shouting of like, "Oh, but you're forgetting the rake, blah blah." No, I'm not forgetting the rake. It's just we've played for an hour and a half. I have not seen anything tough from anyone. We played the most basic strategy we could possibly play. Um, we had no difficult decisions, and I'm pretty sure the win rate here would be fine. And never mind my stack size here right now, because let's not forget, we can't judge win rates from a tiny sample like this. It doesn't matter how much we won in this specific session. It's not indicative. But just you should always evaluate after every session that you're playing. You're supposed to evaluate of what happened, not just check the graph or check the results, because that doesn't give you a full picture. You should really no, timed out. You should really think about what happened. And in this case, if I remember correctly, what happened was we had a pot where we sort of were we flipping something like that. It was like a 50-50. We won that, so it could have went either way. It went our way, so great. That's not obviously an optimal sizing, but I talk too much. Huh? Anyway, let's just check down here. Yeah, we missed some value if we would have bet twice, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, the win rates are achievable. The question is, like in Bluff the Spot, we want our students to progress quickly. Like I don't expect many of our students to stay at these stack sizes, these stacks here. Why stacks? At these stakes, sorry. Right, I do expect people to progress because we do want to, to enable you to become successful, to to achieve whatever it is you set out to achieve in poker. You know, if it is to play these stakes consistently and not move up, sure, why not? But if you're beating these for double digits, very likely you're beating higher stakes for double digits as well. I wouldn't expect, let's say, like a 25-cent, 50-cent game to be much tougher than this. Of course, like if we are talking about playing, let's say, 2-5 Zoom or the 5-10 games or the 10-20 games, compared to this, it's a different world. It's a completely different animal in a way. But here, yeah, I don't see anything that would make our life difficult. You know, it's not very hard. I don't think it's very hard to play like whatever 20 tables of this, if you can manage to click quickly enough. So yeah, well, again, let's try to sit out on the next big blind. Thanks for all the questions. If it so happens that somebody still asks a question before I finish the stream, I will answer it, but that's very unlikely because you guys are seeing it with a delay, and by that time I'm already gonna be out of here. But I really enjoyed it. It's fun. Uh, it's fun to see new things because for me, you know, this is new. I haven't played these stakes, so it's sort of, you know, it's just like, yeah, you see what is out there, what people are up to, and yeah. So the final reminder, um, on Saturday there's gonna be another one, another stream. Uh, if you guys have any wishes as to what you want to see, what you want me to talk about in the stream, please do contact me on Twitter. Just send a tweet, and I'll consider it. The last reminder for the fact that we do have some slots available for a group coaching session that we're doing for the Twitch viewers. This is happening next week. So yeah, there's a few slots. Just the way you get in is basically you reach out on Twitter, tell me why you want to be considered, and that's it. You know, if you're selected, that's it. It's a free coaching session. You're getting a 1 hour, 45 minutes to an hour coaching session in a group. We're gonna make it useful for you guys. It's gonna be interesting. So yeah, grab the opportunity because you don't get too many of these free coaching sessions out there available. I don't think so. Here's your chance. The only thing you need to do is reach out to me on Twitter, tell me why you want to be in, and that's it. All right. So anyway, I had some fun playing. I really appreciate all of you guys who sent your questions to me. Um, yeah, I'll see you all on Saturday if you can tune in. Um, if you want to do contact me on Twitter, let me know what you want to see, um, and do apply for the coaching session. That would be very useful for you guys, I think. Anyway, thank you all, and have a good evening.